Welcome back. So now we're really going to step it up a notch. We're going to see the full power of the Matplotlib object-oriented method. We're going to build upon what we've done here. So we've created this heart disease and cholesterol levels with our over 50s data frame. But now we're going to add a subplot to this. So we can visualize cholesterol levels, and we might get our over 50 data frame here so we can stop having to scroll up. We're going to combine that with thelAch, which is, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that by the way either. thelAch, which is max heart rate. So we want to have a subplot where we've got cholesterol and thelAch on the y-axis, but they're both going to have age as the x-axis. So let's see that in action. We'll title this subplot of col age thelAch. Beautiful. Oh, we want to go here. We're going to recreate this. We could copy and paste this code, but again, we want to practice writing from scratch. So let's see it in full force. Fig. We want to use the object-oriented method. Now, if you've had a go at creating a subplot on your own, this is the way you might have used, but if not, this is how I would create a subplot of these two. So remember, we want two different axes. So fig, ax0 and this is going to be ax1. There we go. So what this is saying is, now we're creating a single figure, but it's going to have two axes on it. Remember, axes are this here, y and x, where you can add data. So let's use the same command as before, subplots, and we want nrows equals 2. We want ncols is going to be 1. Our previous figure size was 10 and 6, but let's make this 10 and 10. See what that looks like. And now we want to go add data to ax0. Actually, let's see what this looks like before we even plot. Fig size. Oh, forgot an equal there. Beautiful. So now we've got two blank canvases to start adding our data on here. So we want to add data to ax0, which is this one here. So just going to be this exact same as before. We'll do something like this. So now we're going to add some data to ax0. Just like we've done up here, we're going to do something similar to this. But again, we're not copy and pasting. We'll do it from scratch. So we want scatter equals ax0 dot scatter. And we're going to go x is going to be the over 50 age column. Y equals over 50. And this is going to be just a cholesterol column. Beautiful. And then we're going to go C equals, we're going to color it with the over 50 target column. Now let's see what that looks like. Beautiful, we've seen this before. So customize ax0, and we want to go ax0 dot set, and we want to add a title. This is going to be heart disease and cholesterol levels. Wonderful. And then we want an X label, which is going to be age, and then we want to go Y label, which will be cholesterol. Nothing new here, we've seen this before, but now it's only on axis 0, which is amazing. Maybe we add a legend to ax0, same code as before, ax0.legend scatter dot legend elements, and then we're going to go title equals target. Beautiful. What did we have up here? We had a mean line. So that's what we can do with the H line. So add a mean line. So we're just replicating the plot we've done before. ax.0.ax H line. Then we need to pass H line to Y. So we want over 50. It's going to be the cholesterol. So we'll do col.mean. And then we'll add a line style as dash dash. And that should be the same plot as what we've got above. But now it's on a subplot. So I want to challenge you to, before we go through it, see if you can replicate what we've done here, but with the thelAch column instead of the cholesterol column on this subplot here. I'll give you a second. All right, if you've had a go, all good. If not, let's go through it. So now we want to add data to ax1, because remember, we've got ax1 up here. Excellent. Same thing we've done as before, but this time all we're going to do is change it from ax0 to ax1, and then of course the column will be different. Or the data that we use will be a little bit different. So in this case, it's one x. The x is still going to be the age column. What's going to change is what's on the y-axis. So we are over 50. They'll act. Wonderful. Color is going to be the same because we're focused on our target variable, which is whether or not the patient has heart disease. So there we go. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, so we're starting to get somewhere now. We've got some data on both our axes. Let's customize it just like we've done with axis 0. We're going to do that with ax1. ax1.set. Let's add a title. Title, this one will be heart disease and max heart rate. Wonderful. And then we're going to go x label. Can you remember what that is? Just the age, because we're using the same column for the x. Now the y label, this is going to be thel-ash. So we'll actually put in max heart rate because we want it to be a bit more communicative than just thel-ash. So if someone came and had a look at our plot and didn't know what thel-ash meant, they'll know it means max heart rate. Okay, starting to make some progress. Now we still have a couple more things to do. We want a similar setup to what we've got here. So let's add a legend to ax1. ax1.legend. Now again, we're creating quite similar plots here with the subplot that we're making. So these two are quite similar. As you've seen before, you could have a scatter plot here and you could have a histogram here or something like that. But we're just using this as an example. So title equals target. Wonderful. We'll add a mean line as well. So ax1.ax H-line. Now we're going to color it with the Y is going to be this time, instead of cholesterol, it's going to be thel-ash. Wonderful. Dot mean. And then the line style, we're going to keep it with our trusty dash. And then we'll add a semicolon here. And let's have a look. What have we messed up? We got an error. Line 2D has no property line style. This is classic. Typos everywhere. There we go. So it's okay to make errors, right? You're never going to type out all the code correctly every time, the first time. Beautiful. This is starting to look really good. Okay. What we're starting to see, we've got an age x-axis label here, but this is also age. So maybe we could tell them to share the x. So let's see, where could we add that? Maybe up in here. I want to share the x. So share x equals true. But now we can remove this label on axis 0. So what is this going to do? If we put in share x equals true, what do you think? There we go. So what this has done is it's telling our plot to go that our subplots here have the same x value. So we don't need to put in the age label there. Maybe you would keep it in there for a bit more, so it's a bit more communicative. That's kind of one way you can start to clean up your plots. And now what we might do is add a title to this overall thing. So we've got both subplots are titled, but we might want to title the entire figure. So let's see how we do that. Add a title to the figure. Now this is fig, because remember, we've created a figure and we've added data and customization to the axes. But now we want to start to access the figure directly, which is that big blue square on our Matplotlib anatomy. We filled up these two on our subplots. Now we want to title our figure. So we can do that with fig.sup, which stands for, I think it stands for super title. I actually don't know what sup stands for. I just know that it's subtitle. And then we go heart disease analysis. And we'll create the font size. We want it to be pretty big font size and a font weight of bold. We'll put a semicolon at the end. Beautiful. Look at this. Maybe we have to zoom out a tiny bit so we can see it all in one hit. There we go. Now you're starting to see what this is kind of looking like. Remember right at the start in the concept lecture, we looked at the anatomy of a Matplotlib figure. We looked at that plot and it was quite complex. There's a lot going on. Well, what you've done is you've just followed along and recreated something very similar. Now what we're going to do in the next video is style this a little bit better, so fix up some of the colors. The important thing to remember is it looks like a lot of code here, and actually is. We've got 25, 30 lines of code there. But what we've done is we've built this figure from scratch using the object-oriented Matplotlib method. And so now, what seemed at the start to be a very complex and complicated plot is actually just quite simple, right? You create a figure, you create a couple of axes, you add data to the axes, you add some customizations like titles and a legend and a horizontal line, and you start to get something looking like this. Now that's something that you could put in a demonstration or show your colleagues in a presentation, something like that, right? Now you're starting to see just how powerful Matplotlib, the object-oriented API, can be. All right, let's wrap this video up. Have a practice, maybe create your own subplot without a scatter. Try a histogram and maybe a bar graph. Can you do that on the same figure? Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video and we'll learn a little bit more customization of these plots.